Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, everything that they have said about President Trump is wrong. In fact, most of it is actually true if said about themselves. But I'm going to prove to you that all the allegations, all the things that they said about Trump prior to the election and after the election are fake news. Let's start with this story from Breitbart. Trump has had 50% more meetings with foreign leaders than Barack Obama had in the same time span of the beginning of his presidency. Now, why is this such a big story to me? Let's recall. Now, here they have a list of Obama's 19 meetings in the same period of time versus Trump's 28 meetings in the same period of time. But what were they saying about President Trump during the election? What were they saying about President Trump after he was elected? He's an isolationist. He's an introvert. He's going to cut relations off to the rest of the world. He's going to cut relations with all of these countries. He's not going to speak to these countries. Oh, but wait. He actually did speak to countries, and he spoke to more countries than Barack Obama did, 50% more even. So what were they saying, though? Washington Post, February 17th. Trump is worse than an isolationist. Don't just call Trump an isolationist. We've been calling him that for months. He's worse. What Trump really believes is far more dangerous. That's the Washington Post. The Washington Compost, again, telling you Trump is an isolationist. He's the exact opposite. How about the National Review? Trump's foreign policy revolution. He is a new American isolationist. That's what they're calling him. An American isolationist from Charles Krauthammer. Again, clearly wrong. Clearly not an isolationist. He's doing business with countries. He's opening the doors for fair trade. How about the Washington Times? Republican rivals take aim at Donald Trump's isolationist foreign policy. Even the Republicans, even the establishment GOP was trying to label him an isolationist. This was October 2015. How about the Week? The radical isolationism of Donald Trump from November 5th, 2015. So again, here's all of these news stories. How about the National? This is a recent one. Even still, they're saying he's an isolationist. America's foreign policy and the introvert impulse. Introvert? Trump is clearly an extrovert. Even CNN, you can't count CNN out. Trump would break sharply with U.S. foreign policy tradition. By calling out NATO, by wanting fair trade. No, they're saying that he's going to isolate America from the rest of the world. Again, so they told you Trump's an isolationist. Trump is going to be an introvert. Trump is going to cut off relations with the rest of the world. What's the real story? Trump is actually having more conversations with world leaders. He's an extrovert, and he's anything but an isolationist. And now we have more world leaders opening their doors to do business with us. And Trump is opening our doors for them to come do business here. So they tell you Trump's an isolationist. What's the facts? He's the exact opposite. What else did they tell you about President Trump? They said Trump's not going to accept the election results. Trump supporters aren't going to accept their election results. Well, what's the truth? The truth is that it's the Democrats that aren't accepting the results. It's the truth that it was Hillary Clinton that started the Resistance PAC. The truth is it was Robert Reich that started the Resist campaign. The truth is it was Linda Sarsour that said we must wage jihad against President Trump. But here's the stories. It's CNN saying Trump will not accept their election results. Politico, Trump still won't commit to accepting the election results. Hillary Clinton launches the Resistance PAC. Robert Reich, 12 ways to resist the Trump presidency. It's unbelievable. So again, they tell you one thing, and then the truth is the exact opposite. This is undeniable, folks. These are just presentable facts that your own eyes can tell you is the case. Now, it just goes on. Russia's hacking the election. Everyone's telling you it's Russia. Russia's hacking the election. Oh, Russia's doing this. They don't know what to do. Oh, but it comes out it was the DHS that was hacking, wasn't it? And then, of course, today, Trump meets with Putin, and Putin says, believe me, we have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to gain with it. Because why are they blaming Russia? Why are they saying this about Russia? Because it was Hillary Clinton that had Russia ties. It was John Podesta that had Russia ties. And it turned out that Maria Bartiromo's interview with John Podesta is just going to go down in history because she called him out on his Russia ties. He tried to deny it. He doubled down. It comes out he was actually wrong, and Maria Bartiromo was actually right. But let's go even recall when they said that Trump was causing violence. Trump supporters are violent people. Trump supporters are out encouraging violence. Trump is encouraging violence. Why is this all this violence? It's all Trump's fault. The Atlantic editor, Trump is going to cause violence against journalists. NBC News, here's what Donald Trump supporters think of the rally violence. They're trying to equate Donald Trump with causing violence. How about the New York Times putting out this video, Trump's history of encouraging violence? Los Angeles Times, Donald Trump has a history of endorsing violence against protesters. Okay, but then what happens? Trump supporters get drug out of their car and beaten in the street. Trump supporters get hit with bike locks. Trump supporters get jumped and cold clocked and cheap shotted in the streets. But that's just one example that has been so far a minor thing. The Trump protesters, by the way, in Berkeley, Antifa protesters going out being violent, burning things down, looting, smashing windows, smashing cars. But it's Trump supporters that are going to be violent. But let's recall, Steve Scalise gets shot at a baseball field, a Republican baseball practice. 4 others got shot as well. They could have easily wound up dead. And then a protester gets arrested at Senator Flake's office in Arizona. And when asked how liberals are going to solve the Republican problem, the protester said they're going to get better aim. So they told you all the things about Trump, and they were all completely untrue. Now, I want to go to this interview. This goes back to the voter information requested from the Trump Integrity Commission. Listen to this interview with John Ashcroft.
Is the federal government asking for anything that
this is McGraw-Milhaven on 550 KTRS in St. Louis.
No, not at all. This is the exact same information that the Secretary of State's office, well, under my predecessor, gave out 380 times, and under his predecessor gave out over 600 times. The Missouri Sunshine Act states that we're required to disclose that information to anyone that requests it.
So even if you didn't want to give out this information to the federal government, you are forced to by statute?
Yes, I'm required to. The Sunshine Act is meant to be a tool to make sure that the government is transparent and that the citizens can know what's going on.
Would you be so inclined to give this information if the Obama administration asked for it?
Of course.
Okay.
The last thing I can do is choose who I'm going to serve in office by their political beliefs. I have to treat everyone equally under the law.
You are in charge of our elections. And each, as I understand it, the presidential elections are not one national election. It's 50 individual state elections, and you're in charge of those elections. Again, that's
McGraw-Milhaven on 550 KTRS in St. Louis.
It could be
interviewing Jay Ashcroft, the Missouri Secretary of State.
Irregularities or something. Why don't you take it upon yourself to do the job that the federal government's doing?
Well, we give this data to anyone. It's a request. It was not a mandate. We are not required other than our own state law to give this data. And what's going to happen in this, we're having a bipartisan commission that's looking at what happens in our election, that's looking to see whether fraud occurs, that's looking to see how it occurs and what are the best ways to fight it or to make it more difficult to cheat. And then it's going to be left up to the states to make decisions if they want to change their processes and how so they believe they should. This is a state-run. Our elections are run by states. They should be run by states. All this is the federal government assisting states in doing what the states feel is best. And that's exactly what we should have. We actually should have our state and federal government working together for far so long. We haven't had that.
Yeah, they didn't get that under Obama. Trump's willing to work with the states' rights. But before they tell you that Trump is breaking the law with this voter integrity committee, before they lie about that, check the facts. Most of that information is already available to the public anyway.
To tell you about some of the products at InfowarsStore.com. We are under constant attack. You know it by now from the mainstream media. They're trying to attack us on every level. Now with the YouTube scandal, they're demonetizing our channels, which again takes a huge chunk out of our income, which is why we always appreciate and rely on you getting the products, because that's how we stay afloat. They can't get to us that way. They can't pressure you to not buy the products. They don't have that power. And that's why you're the key to this entire operation. We have Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste, bubblegum flavor just arrived at InfowarsStore.com. This is by listener request. Bubblegum flavored Super Blue toothpaste now available at InfowarsStore.com in limited supply. Again, if you're not using fluoride-free toothpaste by now, then you're absolutely insane. Harvard studies, it reduces IQ, it causes bone cancer. It's not great, let's just put it that way. And I've been using it for about, 15 years now? So you're gonna buy it anyway, why not buy it from us? It's in limited supply, but it is available at InfowarsStore.com with the new bubblegum flavor, Super Blue fluoride-free toothpaste, and it supports this network, which is under constant demonization and attack, because we don't take big fat checks from George Soros. We don't get put on extremist lists even though they want us to. That's how they're taking away the YouTube money. That's why we need your support more than ever, because we're not funded by giant corporations who are now pulling the plug on YouTube as they move it into a TV thing, a Netflix model, to drown out independent voices. So support us by getting the products at InfowarsStore.com.